Everyone knows that the NAACP sort of has its roots in civil rights justice, racial justice, but this is sort of with a different prism, financial prism. So can you guys sort of talk about what brought about this creation, this ETF?
So the opportunity to kind of work with Ethan and Impact Shares and the Rockefeller Foundation came to us a couple of years ago because we saw it as an opportunity to kind of apply that same model to publicly traded companies. So we saw it as an evolution of our advocacy work and as an evolution of our corporate engagement models.
When this was initially created, I know you guys put together sort of a criteria of what companies needed to show or exhibit to be considered part of the mix of this ETF. And I know that's a longer list, but could either of you just run down some of the top level points that you guys wanted to see in a company in order for them to be in the ETF?
We used things like board diversity. I mean, how many people of color on your board? I mean, what about your supplier diversity programs? I mean, who does a supplier diversity officer report to in terms of measurable impact internally? What are those standards? What are your community engagement activities look like? How deeply are you engaged in the communities that you say that you're standing with? There are a lot of things that we listed, but we saw this as an opportunity to kind of create some baseline kinds of measurements and factors to measure for these corporations so that it wasn't seen as something that was subjective, but that we wanted to kind of put something out there that says, here are the things we're going to look at and measure as we consider your company and your company's score and rank among your peers.
How do you assess the return of this ETF, even though, I mean, it's still relatively in its infancy?
I think it's important to say that 12% return puts us in the fourth percentile within the large cap domestic blend category for Morningstar. So that means we've beaten 96% of the fund in a category that has roughly 1,400 funds themselves. And that includes actively managed, professionally managed funds. So, from our standpoint, we believe that over the long term, companies that are empowering people of color will be better managed and will ultimately lead to better long-term returns because they have better self-awareness, they have better stakeholder engagement outside of just the equity stakeholders.